Joel, thank you so much for this film. It was such an important film, and I know you connected with the story straight away. But at the very beginning, you didn't think you were the right person to direct this.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because I'm a straight guy, and I figured like, you know, look, lately in Hollywood and hopefully everywhere anywhere that makes movies, people are really aware and becoming more aware of representation. You know, particularly in the conversation about who's in front of the camera, and are they right for the parts they're playing, you know? And how do we do that better? How does everybody monitor themselves and do that better? But behind the camera, I think is important too. It's like, who has a right to tell what story? You know, I remember seeing certain comedians getting away with the most sort of unkosher jokes, but you go, all right, you could tell that joke because you're black, or you could tell that joke because you're Asian, or you could tell that joke, like, I remember Steady Eddie in Australia, it was like, he'd tell all these jokes about disabled people, but he had his own kind of, he had cerebral palsy, you know, it's like no one else could say what he says.
Yeah.
So I wonder, right, on a level of telling Garrett's story as an LGBTQ young man, why did I have the right to get behind the camera or behind my computer and write his story, translate his story into a film, or to tell his story? And I was really thoughtful for a time about that and go, okay, well, maybe I'll help produce it. I'll help however I can push it out in the world. And then I just became daily obsessed with it. So obsessed with it that I was like, well, maybe my passion equates to the fact that as an ally, if I'm willing to make this movie with Garrett as my partner, with a lot of other people as my partner, and do the right thing representation-wise in other aspects, that why shouldn't I make the movie? It had been sitting on the shelves for a whole year and no one else was beating his door down. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep doing it. Otherwise, I was gonna be going insane with just thinking about it.
Well, I love that you've said this process has taught me so much about loving others and in turn myself. How did being involved in this change your perception on that stuff?
Well, empathy is like the greatest tool in the toolbox of any storyteller, I think. If you want to make a lot of money, it's good to just sort of put that aside a little bit and just go, okay, well, let's just create a world of heroes and villains, because audiences sit in their seat. They have it's amazing how more simplistic our moral viewpoint comes when we sit in a cinema.
Yeah. But
to me, life is more complicated than that. You know, that I went into the book thinking, oh, this is going to be about hateful parents sending their kids off to a hateful place run by hateful people. That whole prejudgment was disrupted by the fact that what I in fact read was a story about two parents who really, really loved their kid and was like, we need to help him get back to a better life. There's such a conundrum in that family. It's so deeply woven in that there was nothing wrong with him. They thought there was. You know, they thought, all right, the way to help him get back to a community that was going to accept him was by doing this act of love of sending him to conversion therapy. The fact is the community needs the conversion, the parents need the conversion, and the facility needs to be either dismantled or just refurnished and used for something else, because it's a pointless exercise. And even the people that used to run it say so. John Schmidt, who my character's based on, Alan Chambers, who ran the parent company, and many other proponents of it, all confess openly, publicly, that conversion therapy does not work. So anyway, I mean, you know, there was something just so fascinating about the family that had so much love for each other and yet caused so much pain for each other, that it needed to be put out there. And Nicole's character, his mother's roundabout, her 180, her ability to re-examine her choices, was a hopefulness that made this conversion story worth telling. Because we could shine a light on it. We can also go, hey, look at this mother and what she was willing to do to reverse her opinion.
Well, listen, thank you for making this. I could talk to you about this forever, but I'm getting the wind up. So thank you, Joel.
That's me doing all that.
That was